hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean, yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I have 5 spring DIYs for you, all with a little bit of a coastal farmhouse vibe. They're not necessarily beachy, but they're definitely in the blue color with a little coastal touches. And I can't wait to show you how I put all of these together. So let's get started. We are going to be using these flower stickers from the Dollar Tree for our first 2 DIYs. And I found 2 matching framed art pieces at the Goodwill store for half off, even at the Goodwill store. So got a great deal on these, but they had these beautiful frames. So the first step is to dismantle these things. They were really kind of put together well, so I had to use some strength to get the back of that off. And all the pieces that I don't really need. All I want to save from this thrift flip is the beautiful frame and the glass. So just folding back all the staples so we can take this thing apart. And I can throw away the art, the back. All I need is the glass. So be careful getting your glass out. You don't want to cut yourself. And now we can work on the frame. It's got like this really fine detail of like a flower print. And I thought it would be really pretty with my decor. So I am just using ivory chalk paint and a brush. And I am going all over. I want to get a really good coat of ivory on this first. And then I will go back and distress it some. But I'm definitely using a brush because I want to get down into all the little texture on the frame. And a thrift flip is a great way to do a project like this, because you can get a frame like this with so much character. But you know, you can also find some texture frames like this at the Dollar Tree too. If you look, and once you paint them like this, it's going to look way more high-end than just the plastic frame. So I am going over with a second coat because I want to make sure that I cover up all of that gold metallic that was in there. Just working the inside and the outside as well. Now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing with the second frame. We're going to take this thing apart. And these frames were definitely older, so I did have to be a little bit careful with them because I did not want them to fall apart. I also got like a large art print that I want to DIY because it had a beautiful frame, but I'm afraid to DIY it because on the back it says it's like very expensive. So I need to do some research on that first before I take it apart because I don't want to destroy a priceless art piece. So I got that taken apart. I got the glass taken out of the second one, and we're going to go through and paint it exactly the same way that we did the first one, just with some ivory chalk paint. The ivory is going to definitely go well with the decor in my house, especially once I distress it a little bit. I love to use ivory for the coastal farmhouse vibe. I have a lot of ivory furniture and stuff like that in my house as well. So just going in with my pliers and pulling out the staples because we're not going to need those. And I don't know, one of these frames, I forget to get one of these. So make sure that you get all of your staples out, because all we're going to do is put the glass in there, and we're going to just use glue to glue that in. Now the next step, to bring out all of that beautiful floral detail on the frame, I'm going to go over with Antique Wax by Waverly and Distress. So I'm going to kind of just do one side at a time because I don't want it to dry in between coats, and just go over all that texture to kind of bring it out. Then follow that up with a baby wipe and wipe off the excess. But I definitely want a lot of it to be down inside the detail of the flowers so that you can see all that pretty texture. And kind of have it distressed, like streaky. on the inside and the outside of the frame there where it's painted ivory as well. And I think that looks pretty good. It's almost like a coastal cottage vibe. So we are going to go in and do the same thing with the next frame. And I would like to take the opportunity to thank you guys for watching this video. If you like these DIYs today, don't forget to hit the like button, comment your favorite DIY below, and don't forget to subscribe. We definitely blew through that 5,000 goal of subscribers, so let's get to 6,000, okay? So let's go over this again with the Antique Wax by Waverly and follow that up with a baby wipe and just distress all over. And I just love how these frames turned out. I wanted to make sure that I did like maybe an equal level of distressing on each of them because I'm going to display these two together as a set. My plan is to put the glass in there and then put these wall decal stickers on there. One is a big pink flower and one is a blue flower. Now, I don't want them to look really stark and pretty like that. I want them to look distressed. So I'm just going to use some ivory acrylic and a chunky brush and just working in one direction. I'm going to go over that entire flower sticker and distress just like I would distress anything else. That's going to like kind of break it up and make it look way more my vibe. So this is the blue flower for the second one, and we're going to go through and distress it exactly the same. When you go over it with a baby wipe, make sure that you don't wipe off too much because it's a slick sticker, and so you could wipe all your distressing off. So just kind of just wipe off the areas that you get a little bit too much. Okay, it's time to work on the glasses. So be very careful when you're working on the glasses. You do not want to cut yourself or break the glass. So the first thing I'm doing is just going over and cleaning the glass with some Windex to make sure I get all the dirt off there. Then all you have to do is peel and stick these stickers. Now this is a pretty big sticker, so be very careful when you're pulling these off that you don't rip them. I ripped this one, I think, slightly, but I don't think you can tell. And I'm just going to put it on there, coming out one side of the glass. I'm not going all the way up against the edge though, because I do know that there'll be a frame there, so there's no need to go flush, but it fits really well on the 8x10 glass. So we're going to go in here with our second glass and do the same steps. We're just going to give it a quick clean and then attach the sticker. That is one of those e-cloth glass cleaners. I love those things. They do not leave any kind of residue, paper residue when you're cleaning glass. They are so great. So I'm going to do the same thing with the blue flower, kind of having it come out of one side, but not all the way over. And it fits on there really nicely. So I want these to hang, and I had to take the hangers off of these because they were attached to the back. So I'm just going to use some of those sawtooth hangers that you just nail in. I had a couple of those laying around, and I'm just trying to find the center of my sign so that we can line that up properly. And I love these because they don't have the little screws that you have to worry about. You can just nail the whole thing in like that. And we're going to go ahead and do that with the second one as well. I end up hanging these together, but I do want both of them to have their own hanger so that they will definitely not fall. Okay, it's time to put our glass in. So I'm just going to do a bead of hot glue all the way around the inside of the frame, all four sides, and do it all in one step like that, and glue the glass down into the frame. That's going to make it like a clear background that you can see the wall through, but it's going to have that beautiful decal on the front. And I just love how these turned out. So let's get started. Let's do the second one as well. I was trying to do one come out of the left side and one come out of the right side. I don't know what I was thinking because I kind of end up doing them both the same, but I end up moving the hanger so that I can fix that issue. And this one I forgot to take a staple out. So make sure you get all the staples out. I did get it in there though. But it took me a little longer, so my hot glue cooled off a little bit. So I am going to have to use a little bit more hot glue to get that secure in there. I don't want the glass falling out. And so I moved the hanger to the other side because I didn't do that quite like I planned to do it. Then I thought it would be really cute to display them together as a set, kind of connected, right? And so I want to do a one on top of the other. I'm going to have these hanging in my dining room for spring. And I'm just going to use a little bit of that burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree and glue that to the frames to kind of make it look like they're attached and hanging together. I have to kind of be careful though because I do have a hanger on there. So I kind of just go over that without covering it up. And then I just hang both of them together. I definitely use 2 nails though because I'm not going to trust that hot glue and that ribbon. But this is how they turned out. I think they're so cute. What do you think? This is the pink flower in the antique frame. And then this is the blue flower that I have below it. I love these colors, and I think this turned out really cute. I've never done any projects like this before. Okay, are you ready for our third DIY? I found this great placemat at the Dollar Tree the other day, and I thought it was so springy. So I'm going to try to make it into a sign. I'm just going to go ahead and take the tag off the back. And then for the sign, I'm going to use one of these black chalkboards from the Dollar Tree. This is the one that you can do like for little kids with all the writing on the other side. And I love these signs because they are very flat, very strong signs, and they're a very nice size. So I'm going to want this to be a horizontal sign. So I'm going to go ahead and take the hanger off. I'm not going to worry about that. And then this is the side with all the writing. This is the side we're going to work with. And I want to cover it up with some of this white board removable wallpaper from the Dollar Tree. I love this stuff. I think it always gives me such a coastal farmhouse vibe. And we're just going to simply peel and stick that on the sign, making sure that we get it down really good. I don't want any kind of bubbling. So I'm going to go over it with a scraper as well. Now, to get a perfect cut along all 4 sides, we're just going to use a sanding block from the Dollar Tree and sand that down until you can kind of see the sign coming through and it peels right off. And this is definitely the best way to cut this because it's going to give you a perfect custom cut. And this chalkboard kind of has like the rounded corners as well, and it's going to just give you a perfect cut all the way around. And it's definitely an easy way to do it. So we got that all on there. It looks pretty cute. I like to distress it as well with some ivory because it's kind of a stark white and I want it to be more ivory. And I kind of want to soften up all of the lines on there between the boards. So I distress over those lines. I work around the edges. I work in one direction. And I just kind of distress it all over with the ivory. And then follow that up with a baby white. And it's going to kind of make it look more, definitely more coastal and softer. And we're ready to start on the little blue truck. I really wanted to put the expression on there too, but my sign wasn't quite big enough. So what I'm going to do is just go in with scissors and cut all the way around this truck. I'm leaving like a slight border. I don't want to cut into the image, but I don't want to, it had kind of like a board print on this as well. So I was trying to cut off most of that because that's not going to line up with the board print on the sign that we're going to use. But isn't this placemat cute? I saw this and I just fell in love with it. I knew I had to make something with it. And I thought it would be a perfect DIY for my kitchen. So got the truck all cut out. And I thought about hot gluing it, but I wasn't sure if it would melt that plastic placemat at all. So we're going to use Mod Podge and just a lot of it because it's kind of a heavy placemat to attach to a sign like this. So I do a really thick layer of Mod Podge on the back, and then I also spread Mod Podge onto our sign and lay that on there. And you can tell it's kind of moving around a little bit because just the material that it's made out of. You definitely have to make sure that it dries. So going over the top of it with another thick layer of Mod Podge, I'm trying to make sure all the pieces are down. I don't want any of it like sticking up or peeling out. Some of those odd shapes of the flowers definitely wanted to stick up a little bit, so I had to show them a little bit more attention. And then once I get that on there, I give it a good dry, and then I'm going to go over it with another coat. Just because it is definitely such a thick piece that I have attached there, and I want to make sure that it stays down. And so just using that matte Mod Podge from the Dollar Tree. Now I wanted to distress the truck slightly to kind of go with my decor. So again, just using ivory, acrylic, and a chunky brush. I go all over the whole truck, just working in one direction, and follow that up with a baby wipe to give us a slight distress on this cute little truck. Now definitely stay tuned today because I'm going to be doing our giveaway drawing for the Shore Living stencils from my last video. So good luck, everyone. I can't wait to find out who wins that giveaway. Now I thought it needed a little bit more, so I thought I would use some of this white nautical rope from the Dollar Tree to kind of make a frame. It's going to be really flexible, and I think it would go around the different edges of this really nicely and kind of frame out our sign. Give it a little something, right? And so I'm just going to use a bead of hot glue along the bottom, a pretty heavy bead of hot glue, because this rope is definitely not too thin. They have different diameters of this. I'm thinking this is probably one of the medium ones. And I'm just going to keep continuing that kind of curved corner like that and just gluing the rope around all four sides. Now, once I got the rope on there, I noticed that I didn't really get the truck on there super even. But when I put it on there, I wasn't really planning on doing a frame. And so just make sure you get it where you want it. Because once it's down, it's down. But it's okay. So I have my fourth edge here. And I just cut that and glue that down. Make sure you have some super sharp scissors when you're cutting this rope because it's kind of hard. And so I'm just going to kind of cut it as short as I can on both of those corners so that I can glue down all the individual pieces of rope there with some hot glue to make it look like a clean corner. And it's not super obvious that that's where I started and stopped. But to get that, I had to go in and kind of trim up all the individual little pieces, then just adding hot glue. Now I thought it needed a cute little handle, and so I thought we could make a handle out of this rope as well to hang it. And so I'm just going to tie a knot on each side of our handle. Just super easy knots. Tie them tight and then cut off the rope on each end. And then I thought I could just attach that to the rope on the top, and it's going to give us just a fun little handle. I've never made a rope handle like this before, but I really kind of like how it turned out. Now on this step, make sure you use plenty of hot glue because this is gonna hold the whole sign up. It's not super heavy, but you definitely want to make sure that it's attached. And mine really wasn't because I don't think I used enough hot glue there at first. So that's okay. I'm just gonna go back and add some more. And that's all there is to this little blue truck DIY. You know I love a good little blue truck, and this one is filled with flowers for spring, and I think it looks so cute in my kitchen. This is how it looks. I have it hanging on the side of my cabinets, and I think it's super sweet. I love it. Okay, are you guys ready for the next DIY? We're going to do flowers. I got this great flower hanging sign from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to use a wood round from the Dollar Tree. I'm so happy they have these now. If you can't find them, you can always use any round sign you have from the Dollar Tree. You're not going to know because we're going to cover it up. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the hanger off of our wood round. And we're not going to paint this sign or anything like that. I'm going to cover the whole thing in contact paper. And I found this great contact paper at the Dollar Tree the other day. It's like a light blue and it's got like white flowers all over. So I thought this would be perfect for a spring DIY with a little bit of a coastal farmhouse vibe. And so easy. This contact paper from the Dollar Tree is super thin, but that's okay. I think it's definitely going to work for what we're doing here today. So I just cut off a piece bigger than the wood round. And just simply peel that off and stick it down. It's pretty forgiving. It's not super sticky there. So you got to make sure that it stays down. And I got it all smoothed out. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did with that removable wallpaper from the Dollar Tree and just use a sanding block to give myself that perfect round cut all the way around. And this stuff was so thin. It was so easy to cut with this that you kind of had to be cautious that you did not cut it too much. So just kind of working one side at a time until you get it all peeled off. And I kind of love how that turned out. I'm just going to use a Cricut weeder to poke new holes in there so that we can put a hanger on there when we're done. And you know I have to distress it, so I'm going to use a little ivory acrylic and a chunky brush. And we're going to give this a light distress all over just to kind of soften it up and to make it more my vibe. Very quick to dry. And then this is the sign we're working with today. It says, "Live life in full bloom." It has 4 flowers. I'm just pulling them all off the little burlap strap they were on. And the staples come right out as well. And it gives us 2 yellows, a blue, a purple flower. And I thought we could make these work on this sign. So I'm just kind of playing around and seeing which way they kind of fit better. It's okay if they hang off the sign a little bit, but I kind of wanted most of them to fit on there. And I wanted to put all 5 pieces on there. So the first thing I'm going to do is just glue the middle sign down. Trying to make sure that I have it. I left the flowers on there so I knew exactly where to put it. And then I just can go around and glue down all the flowers. I thought about painting the flowers, but I kind of like these colors. I think they're very neutral, and I think they definitely go with my color scheme. And I kind of like the style of them. I like the way they're painted. So just going through and gluing all those down. And I think that looks pretty cool. And I have a little bit of hot glue, the little strings. And so I'm just using my hot glue gun to disintegrate all of those. And then I also wanted to do a slight distress over all of these as well. So just using my ivory acrylic and a chunky brush, I am just going over and distressing all of those. Taking off any of the excess paint with a baby wipe. Kind of making it go more with the vibe of the sign. This sign was definitely kind of unexpected, but I really love how it turned out. I think it's super cute. And I have taken down all of my Easter DIYs, so my home was kind of bare, and I wasn't quite ready to put my patriotic stuff up just yet because I'm really excited about spring. Now, I thought I would replace the hanger with one of these wood-bead garlands from the Dollar Tree. I love these, and I'm so excited that they're carrying them again. I've been finding them in the store, but I also ordered a whole case of them online because I love them. I cut one of the strands about the same length as the existing hanger. Then I'm going to make sure that I have an even number of beads so that it will hang evenly on my hook in my kitchen. And I am just stringing those through the existing holes and tying them off. Super easy. I love these things, and they give such a fun vibe to a Dollar Tree sign, and they really dress it up some. Now, I thought the flowers needed a little something, so I'm going to use some of this burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to simply cut 4 circles of burlap to replace the centers of each flower. I thought that was going to give me a nice little coastal vibe and kind of take those flowers up a notch. And I just love how that part turned out. It was definitely a perfect finishing touch. And I'm just going to attach all of those with a little dot of hot glue. And we're done with our 4th spring DIY. And I can't wait to show you here how it turned out. This is how it looks on the side of my cabinet in my kitchen. And I think it's so cute. I really love the neutral colors. Okay, are you guys ready for the last DIY? We're going to use some of these spring rub-on transfers from the Dollar Tree, one of these galvanized metal tulips from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use a thrift flip sign. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut off the hanger on our tulip. I was kind of going back and forth whether I was going to leave it on there or not, because then I'm going to have holes on the top of the tulip, but I just kind of leave those. And I found this great sign at the thrift store for half off, and it's got a little stand on the back, so it's going to be a perfect standing sign for the top of my coat tree at my entryway. I just wanted a little touch of spring there, and I thought I could make a really cute spring sign. So it's got like a little metal clip here on the top, which I don't really need. So I'm just going to use a screwdriver to take that part off. And I really like the color and the finish on this, but I thought I would rough it up just a little bit with a sanding sponge from the Dollar Tree to give it a coastal vibe, and I think the tulip is going to fit perfect on there. Now, I never know what to do with these little galvanized metal things from the Dollar Tree, even though I love them, but I think I found the perfect thing, these rub-on transfers. I want this to say spring on the top, so I'm going to kind of line that up where you'll be able to read it. I'm going to cut off the excess decal to size, and then peel and stick the little rub-on transfers to our galvanized metal tulip. And then I'm going to use one of those little Cricut scrapers from the Dollar Tree and scrape all over. This went on just so easily. I'm just testing to see if it transferred, and look at that. Look how pretty that is. It went on just flawlessly, and I love this print. It's so pretty and so springy. So I'm just going to attach that tulip to the front. I'm not going to worry about the little holes on the top. I don't think that that's really going to take away from anything, and I don't really want to cover up anything on both sides. So I'm just going to do a thick layer of hot glue to attach that. Now be careful, I'm protecting my fingers there because that is really hot. That metal really heats up. And glue that to this little sign. Then I kind of wish that I had distressed it a little bit, so I'm just going to use some ivory and just slightly distress around the edges. I definitely should have done this before I put the tulip on there, but I just wanted to add a little bit more character to that sign in the back, even though it already has a lot. And then it's got that great display thing on the back. You just kind of pull it out and it makes it stand up, and this is how it turned out. Isn't it lovely? And this is how it looks in my entryway, a little perfect touch of spring. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Are you ready for the final reveal? Let's get to it.
Just close your eyes and let them rest. I know it's hard to fall asleep, but do your best. 'Cause there's a place that I go to when I want to hide from all the shades of blue. 'Cause at times I think of leaving, my mind takes me back to fall, when the snow begins to sing goodnight to warm. But I will never leave your side. You're the reason to my pride. Never wither and runs dry, and your roses are my guides. Goodbye, my friend, our love remains, but not this way. I'm in your garden as a day. Just feel the wind. If you look close, you see the lilies dance and how they slowly grow. I'm counting years as they go